Hello, hi, and welcome to EmpathicFire. I am your reader, Jay. These are going to be general messages for the sign of Virgo in May 2021. What's going on, Virgo? How are you guys doing? I hope you guys are doing well. Virgo, welcome to May, wherever you are in the world right now. I hope you're safe, happy, healthy, and secure. Continue to take very good care of yourselves and those that you know and love, okay? No other announcements here in May, so we'll just go ahead and get started. Anything you want from me, Virgo, it is in the description box below. Timestamp is down there. Information on how to purchase a personal reading with me is down there. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, I give you a link to that down below as well. Virgo, this is the start of your reading. We're going to talk about that in just a second. We're going to expand on it later with the same deck. Talk about the bottom of the deck as the overall energy. But before we actually talk about the cards, I do meditate before every reading that I do. And sometimes I mention something that comes through if it's important. So first of all, very difficult to get into your energy. I felt very scattered. I felt very, not confused, but just like I was distracted, right? So maybe that's something that you're going through right now. You might be very busy. Your brain or your mind might be hard for you to focus right now, something like that. And then also I kept seeing the colors mauve or mauve or however you say it, mauve, the French word for purple or some hue of purple, and rose. So rose, the actual color rose, or maybe possibly the flower rose might mean something to you. The name rose might mean something to you. So if any of those jump out to you, they may or may not, I don't know, but I felt really compelled to share that with you, okay? To begin though, your tarot reading, you have the Seven of Wands, Moon card, and the Star card. Moon, major arcana for Pisces. Star, major arcana for Aquarius. You could be dealing, but you don't have to be. So maybe that's where this was coming from, you know? That feeling of confusion, that feeling of the lack of clarity. Like it was very hard for me to focus in on your energy, to connect with your energy, and that might be coming from the Moon card as well as the Seven of Wands, because in the Seven of Wands in this particular deck you see that what's illustrated there is like this canopy of trees, and it's very thick at the top, and so to see a clear sky would be a hard to achieve thing, right? So Seven of Wands also, traditionally speaking, I should say, is a card of defensiveness, a card of being maybe not restricted, but certainly enclosed or guarded. Let's say guarded. So for some of you, and the moon is a thing, again, a card that speaks of uncertainty or a lack of clarity. So I feel as though many of you are in a deep internal space, but on the surface you appear normal, right? I don't think you're letting anyone into or you're not letting anyone know that you're in contemplation, reflection. You're in a healing phase for some of you with the Star card over there, but you're not letting people know because the moon is about secret keeping or creating illusions. So on the surface, I think you're out and about, you're doing and living your regular life, but internally there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on under the surface that other people do not know about. You might be facing some repressed memories, emotions, feelings about a certain situation or person. But again, it's guarded. Or, in a strange way, Virgo, it might be even guarded to you. Like, let's say, some of you might be suffering from PTSD, right? And I feel some of the coping mechanisms that some of us have when we have experienced trauma at an earlier point in our lives, or at any point in our lives. It doesn't mean from childhood. It could be when you're an adult. But if you've experienced some type of trauma or some type of stress, sometimes your brain, or I don't know if it's the brain, I'm not a neurological doctor or anything like that, but I feel like some of the coping mechanisms is like you're prevented from even seeing or remembering what happened. You lose access to your own memories because it's so traumatic, because it's so harmful to you, or it was so damaging to you. Does that make sense? So for some of you, you might be exploring that, or you don't even know that that's what's happening. So you might be having, because also with the moon card, it talks about sleep cycles and sleep patterns and the underworld in terms of dreams, right? So you might be having very vivid dreams and very disturbing dreams, but you can't connect them to anything in your consciousness, right? Or you're going really, really deep into your internal space, but it doesn't make sense. It's like I feel like some of you are feeling as though something happened to you or you witnessed something, but it doesn't feel like it happened to you, even though in reality it did. That's not for everybody. That's clearly not for everybody. But in a very general sense, if you're experiencing stress, if you're experiencing anxiety, if you are grappling with or going through a turn of depression right now, I feel it's very personal and private to you, Virgo. I feel on the surface, you're, business as usual, very much coming and going and living your life and interacting the way that you normally would because, well, not because, but I think the star card allows you to do that or aids you in doing that. Star card is about healing. It is about reflection. It is about doing that work, but on a higher plane or from a higher perspective. It's not as clutched or as closely related to fear as the moon card would be. It's not at all related to defensiveness like the Seven of Wands would be. So I think the star comes in to allow you to not slip into a very deep depression, to not slip into a point of dysfunction in your life. So really the star is your saving grace. It also can be another person. Star can talk about a healer. So some of you might be working with a therapist or a doctor or counselor or something like that. You might be working with a shaman. You might be working with a Reiki master, whatever methodology you choose. So there is either work that you're doing on your own or like you naturally, possibly very subconsciously are high functioning in your depression, in your anxiety, right? Without really intending it or anticipating it or making that happen, or it's not a symptom but a side effect, I suppose, of what's going on here, or again it's somebody else outside of you. Overall, Virgo, this is it's a tough situation that you're dealing with because a lot of what you're dealing with is unknown to you. Like you can't form it into words, you can't articulate it, you don't remember it, you feel like you're misremembering things. Maybe you've got people around you. That could be where the defensiveness comes in with the Seven of Wands. You might have people around you who are saying, oh, Virgo, you're making this up, or you're being dramatic, you're being a crybaby, you're digging up old dirt and things that are, need to be forgotten. And so there's a potential to have some tense relationships over here or exchanges with people over here, right? And that could drive you even further into this reclusive space or this, place where we're going to put bad thoughts out of our head consciously, stuff them down into the subterranean. And then again, some of you are, I don't like to say the word suffering too much, but some of you might be suffering from certain nightmares or very intense dreams that, again, they disturb you. You're not a fan of that, of what you're experiencing there. But let's go further with this. So let's see what else is going on here for Virgo, please. Give me more regarding the story for Virgo. Give me more, please. What else is happening? Knight of Pentacles. Earth sign energy there. Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Could be dealing with another earth sign or not at all. That's okay. Whichever way it goes. What else is happening here for Virgo? Okay. Almost fell to the floor. One more, please. Thank you. Bottom of the deck will be the overall energy. Alright. So Knight of Pentacles. Emperor. Okay. And Hangman. Hangman energy is strong this month. That is coming out. Anyway. So again, Earth sign energy, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Emperor, major arcana for Aries, could be dealing, don't have to be. And secondary major for Pisces with the Hangman. So 2 cards of Pisces. So if you are dealing with a Pisces or you're aware of your own Pisces placements, that might be very significant to you. But again, it's still a general. Don't hold on to that too tightly. So on its face, I'm feeling that some of you have issues with a very strong masculine figure. They don't have to be a male, but they are a masculine figure. You have a rich history And I'm saying you, this is happening to you. If you're a cross watcher, this could be the Virgo, by the way. That's a late addition, but I would hope most people would know it's a general reading. You didn't pay for this personally, so feel free to augment this a little bit, but don't force it into your life, okay? But whoever this is, they, you might be very afraid of this person. This could have been, if you're not afraid of this person, they're a person who struck fear into your heart. They forced or are forcing, because for some of you, this person is still around in your life and they're still very significant to you. They force reverence. They demand respect. They demand obedience. They demand, or control is another thing that's coming through. Control. So this person is a very domineering figure, super masculine, possibly a toxic masculine, okay? They don't have to be an Aries. They don't have to be male. Just open that up a little bit. But whoever they are a character that you don't want to tussle with. And that could be because, since you were a kid or since you were younger, this is how they've been, or maybe you've met them recently and this is like a side of them that you've never experienced before, but it's very clear now. Oh, they're like, hold on. Okay, if you've met this person recently, you might be still, I don't know if it is this person, because the moon is above the emperor. For those where this is like historically, like somebody you've known since your childhood, like a father figure, older cousin, a boss or something like that, you already know who this is. For some of you, you don't know you don't know this about them. Or you're seeing little snippets of that come out of their personality, right? Where it's a toxic person, not all of you are dealing with a toxic person, but where, for those of you where you are, I would try as best as you can to run for the hills, because this person is not amicable. Where they're super toxic, super intent on having it their way, whatever that means. They're not going to change. For some of you, this is like a personality defect, and let me quote that personality defect. I'm not a therapist, I cannot diagnose, but I feel as though for some of you it's like circumstantial, or this person, maybe they are the person who deals with PTSD or some type of depression, or something to do with bipolar disorder. You know what I mean? And that's not an excuse. And that's not me saying, oh, well, because they're diagnosed or they've had these issues before, it's okay. No, for some, it comes and it goes. It's not always this way. So when this person is in a good mood, it's fine. When they're in a bad mood, it's awful, right? Regardless of who this is, I really get the sense that in most of the cases, they're not up for changing. They're not up to compromise. The emperor innately in tarot is a non-compromising energy. And when in a high vibe or even a mid vibe, that can be beneficial, that's strategic, that works very well in business and very well in other types of social dynamics. In terms of a loving relationship, or in terms of low vibe toxic energy, which I think is what most of you are dealing with, in terms of any type of connection, this is not somebody that you can reason with, that you can assert yourself with. If you do assert yourself with this person, you kind of have to match them. They don't respect, congeniality. They don't respect, like, people going about things in a nice way. Look at this guy. And it's mostly the illustration that I'm speaking of. He's sitting there with an AK on his lap, right? So this is not somebody who wants to talk about their feelings and come to some, greater understanding of themselves. This could be a person in your physical life who the only thing they understand in terms of getting their point across or getting to a resolution in a situation is violence. Or aggression. If not violence, just aggression. Like this person, again, for some of you, it's on and off, but for others of you, it's constantly like this. They are always aggressive. They are always ready for a fight. They are always ready to dominate other people. So if you grew up around that, tons of PTSD potentially. If you grew up around somebody like that, raised by somebody like that, if you had a marriage to somebody like that, because the Emperor can indicate a marriage card or a significant masculine partner, right? I mean, I can't imagine most people coming out from dealing with a person like that with no type of effect. This person has a very distinct effect upon others. Okay? Wow, that was a lot to talk about with one person, or one card, I should say. Knight of Pentacles, Hangman on either side. So for some of you, Knight of Pentacles, you and or other people make slow progression away from this person. Because if you look at the eye line of the knight on the horse, he's kind of looking in the direction of the knight, or excuse me, the emperor when he's on the table, right? So there is this looking back. Again, we were talking about that earlier when we were talking about the top line of your reading, Virgo. There is this look back. There is this consideration of what happened in the past, which you may or may not be conscious of, which you may or may not be willing or open about. Let's say it that way. I feel as though this is a long time coming. If you're finally packing bags, if you're finally disassociating from this person or detangling from this person, or finally, you know, no longer answering their calls, letting their calls go to voicemail, whatever it is, this is not a decision you make lightly to go the other way. Because again, the body, the torso of the knight is facing away from the emperor, but the eye line is looking back over and saying, well, there's the emperor, and he's not moving. You know, emperor is, you know, the king of kings, so he definitely is not moving, right? You might, for some of you, because if you look, oh my god, dropping everything. If you look on the card, on the emperor card, hopefully it focuses, you see he's sitting in front of that chest. He's got that chest underneath his arm behind him, and he's protecting it with his staff and his AK and his, you know, metal leg or whatever, right? And the knight, all he has is like this little knapsack or whatever. So for some of you, if you leave this person alone, something in your physical life of value might shrink. You might lose money if you're in business with this person, you own property with them, you share accounts with them. You might lose, very relative to what we were talking about in the top line, you might lose a sense of yourself. You might lose your self-confidence. You might lose connections with other people, friends, other family members, things like this. But again, the knights, they're usually on a mission. And their mission is to reach the goal, accomplish something, to explore, to grow, to travel, to traverse. And you know, so I would encourage you, Virgo, to not be dissuaded or too daunted by any losses you have. Not to say that they are easy to withstand or excuse me, or experience, but it feels like in the long run, it's worth it, because the Knight of Pentacles, out of all of the knights, he really explores or moves towards a goal, or is on a mission, on a journey that has purpose more than the other knights. There's something enriching in the journey that this knight will take. There's something that will grow or facilitate a better future, right? So, and that message has come across in many of the readings that I've done so far. Not all, but it's kind of been a common theme in these May readings so far, Virgo, is like sometimes we have to lose to win. I hope that makes sense. Hangman, I feel that's, you know, obviously because they're stacked on top of each other, but I feel the Hangman definitely has the strongest relationship to the Star, because these are more about your spiritual awareness or awakenings. If you're unawakened or you're just newly awakened, I mean, literally think about it. When you wake up in the morning, are most people are not, you know, plucky as soon as they get out of bed. It's like you gotta stretch, you gotta wipe the crust out of your eyes, you gotta go brush your teeth, take a shower before you're actually ready to go out and do things in the world, right? So if you recently awakened, or this is your awakening story, you're not gonna get off to a running start. There's going to be time spent that you need to learn new lessons, have or gain new perspectives, gain some type of clarity, because the star definitely is more clear than the moon, right? So you gain clarity, you gain perspective, you might gain some type of appreciation. Not saying that you must, but you might gain some type of appreciation for everything that you've gone through, you know? Yeah, that's what that feels like. That feels like you gain as you kind of make this transition, or traverse this next leg of your journey, which is pretty bumpy, which is pretty, it's a tall order for you, Virgo, but I feel if you persevere, which I do see signs that you would persevere. Knight of Pentacles, dedicated. Hangman, again, and with that lotus flower in the water there, definitely there's a chance for you to be awakened and enlightened in some type of way. So I do feel you will gain or come to some type of higher, more open, or more a wiser perspective. But it's a struggle to get there for sure. Overall energy for this reading, Two of Cups hiding behind there. Okay. Overall energy for your reading, Virgo, is the King of Swords. Air sign energy, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. You could be dealing with an air sign, but you don't have to be. You know, Cameron, you just decide when you want to focus and when you don't. Anyway, you could be dealing with an air sign, but you don't have to be. Some of you, this is a lawyer or somebody who has a particular set of knowledge that you need to help you along the way here, okay? So if this is not a lawyer, it's someone who's like a business consultant. If it's not about business life, this is a family therapist or something like that. This is somebody who's a professional within a certain field, and again, they have a certain knowledge set that you benefit from, and them sharing their knowledge with you, giving you insight, giving you coping mechanisms, giving you homework, giving you advice, giving you, leading you to other resources, whatever. This is a very helpful person. However, they do not come to you freely. So again, you either hire this person, or they don't come to you freely in that they're going to volunteer. If you know someone, but you don't ask them questions, they're not going to give you answers. So if this is somebody who is a professional that you want to seek help with, they're not going to just like see you from across the room and like jet over to you and be like, oh, Virgo, I can tell that you're suffering. They don't know that you're suffering, or that you're going through a tough time, or that you need their advice. You'd have to ask, you'd have to enlist their help and or pay for their help. Okay. They're also not going to be somebody, Virgo, in the long run who's going to treat you with kid gloves. Maybe initially they might, but eventually they're going to want you to get as honest with yourself as they're going to be with you. So basically, I sense a person here who would operate with a tough love mentality, or approach, I should say. Or there's somebody who requires, if you're going to work with them, if you're going to partner with them, if you're going to seek them out for counsel and advice, that you come with the highest level of accountability, because the King of Swords is no nonsense. Is definitely somebody who, regardless of their sign or their gender, they're going to want you to succeed, but they don't want you to cut corners to success. If this is about personal triumphs, if this is about getting over trauma, they want you to do that, but they're not going to allow you to just like brush shit under the rug. You get what I mean? So they're going to want you to do the hard work, the dirty work, the work that you have avoided for years and years and years to get yourself to a better place. Does that make sense? I feel like this is a good person to have in your corner, but some of you are going to be a little, I got to be honest, you're in too much of a sensitive, raw spot to align with this person right now. So when you're in a when you're in a sturdier place where you have a little bit more kind of a thicker skin, you might benefit from linking up with that person. Okay. Virgo, that is your reading for May. If this reading resonated with you at all, please leave a message down below, leave a comment down below. Feel free to like the video if you did like it. And of course, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so before. And make sure that you hit the notification bell so you can see when I do uploads to the channel, okay? If you want to find me for a personal reading, that information is down in the description box below, okay? Virgo, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Take care.